Hello, everyone. Welcome all. Welcome you. Welcome me. And welcome through this entire playthrough, where I play The Mask of the Plague Doctor, which is a game on Steam that, obviously from the title, I was very interested, considering that I myself am a fellow doctor. Not professionally, but, Oh shit. Make sure to follow Wobbly Bee's Knees. Um, But anyway, this is just a text-based choose your own adventure type of game. There's gonna be a lot of reading, so I'm very sorry if I mess up a bunch. Okay. Anyway, Mask of the Plague Doctor by Peter Parrish. The Baron's Encampment. Mud slops around your ankles as the late afternoon rain patters off waxed robes and soaks into the churned field. This soil may once have nurtured wheat, but is now home only to the sprawl and grime of an encamped army. You pick your way across the sopping turf towards the straggled line of tents that serve as a makeshift perimeter. As you draw closer to the canvas array, you see a tattered coat of arms through the rain. The same falcon sigil adorns your imperial summons to the town of Thornback Hollow. A few soldiers huddled around struggling fires, some dressed in the black and yellow of their feudal master. Others in the same peasant garb, where they were wearing when ordered to serve. Judging by their demeanor and the condition of the surrounding fields, they have been here for several weeks. The lack of activity suggests most others are taking cover from the weather. You! Stop there! Turning towards the voice, you see a woman striding through the murk in your direction. She wipes some rainwater from her eyes and brandishes a rake. The black and yellow livery suggests she's with the soldiers. Thornback Hollow is under quarantine. What's your business here? Gesture at your plague doctor mask. I'm here to see the burn. I have some in the crown. Your troubles are over. I'm here to save the town. No time to chat. Which way to the plague? Whatever there is suffering due to compose me attack. I'm more of a, hey, look, this is what I'm a doing kind of guy. So I'm going to gesture my plague doctor mask at the lady. Yep. You make an exaggerated motion at your plague doctor mask. The woman stares back. You shrug. Oh, another one of you, she says at last. Could have just said so. I didn't really feel like it. She pauses, looking you up and down, and as she considers her next move. Right. Can't be too careful. I need to clear this with Baron Morland. Stay here until I get back. The soldier glances around at the wide-open avenues between the tents. Then she looks back at you. Don't go anywhere, she adds. Baron hates it if you're late. You watch her stride away and disappear between the lines of temporary dwellings. The rain splashes around you and drips from your sleeves. She won't begrudge you finding a little shelter, surely. As you settle in under a nearby canopy, a different soldier dashes up, almost losing his footing in the mud. He grabs your shoulder. Are you a doctor? He gasps out, not waiting for a reply. Come with me. My friend needs medicine, please. Uh, uh... Perhaps I can help if you tell me about your friend's condition. The soldier seems to settle down a bit. Rowan. That's his name. He showed me a gash on his leg a few days back. We had to patrol duties between hold on, let me just get out of your music. Yeah. We had to switch patrol duties because he found it hard to walk. Anyway, now that he has the sweats and the leg isn't healing. Has the wound turned a different color? Is there pus coming from the wound? Has the wound turned a different color? Nah. It's still all red and fleshy, he says. I'm urine, by the way. Satisfied that the gash has not yet taken an unpleasant turn, you tell the soldier to first wash his friend's leg with vinegar. He nods as you dig into your medicine pouches and produce some verdigris pigment. You instruct him to combine this with honey. warm the mixture, and smear it on the cut. I'll have to barter for the honey, but if you say it'll help Rowan, then it's worth it. Thank you. The rain beats down. As you hand over the pigment, the two of you are joined by the woman with the rake. John greets her with enthusiasm. Get this one to the Baron, will ya? Thornback Hollow needs... He pauses, suddenly conscious not to assume who resides beneath the mask and robes. I don't care. You can assume how much you want. Needs him, John, and thank you. Needs him. Got it. With that, Yarn sprints off. You're actually still her wise choice. To wait as instructed, I mean. Very wise indeed. Sorry, I just blanked out for a second there. Happens sometimes. Kind of annoying. But, you know. I need to fucking learn how to read. The returning soldier walks a full circle around you, adding under her breath, and they say Rhea isn't fit for guard duty. You greet her and note with relief that the rake no longer finds itself pointed at your gut. All right, she says. Good news. Baron Moreland is eager to meet you. Well, those weren't his exact words, but you're clear to see him. She points at a flag fluttering higher than the more modest tents. Head for that coat of arms with the bloody great bird on it. The Baron likes to remind us he's always watching over our activities. Or just soaring above us all. It's one of those. Her message delivered, Rhea strides away from across the southern camp to pursue some new duty. Set off toward the flag. With the center of the camp threatening to become a dirt reservoir, you follow a pathway that looks less likely to drag you to a mud-filled grave. It leads you alongside some farm buildings, a short distance away from the main hub of camp activity. You pause to peer through a crack in the wooden structure. The buildings appear to have been repurposed as basic living quarters for more of Baron Morlorn's levied troops. Thornback Hollow's farmer must either have fled or now reside in the town itself. Ripe scents of hastily dug latrines waft in the damp air. Disgusting. As you move on past between the two abandoned barns, a figure steps out of the shadows. You! Give me everything you have! Your would-be assailant cuts a bedraggled figure. Rainwater runs through thin straggles of hair and drips off a drawn, malnourished face. He wields a stub of a knife and waves it in the general direction of your medicinal pouches. This is ridiculous. I push past this pathetic thief. Adopt an intimidating tone to make him back down. Convince him there are much richer pickings elsewhere. The poor lad is in a bad way. I'll give him some food. Why not? You hold up your hands to show the hungry assailant you're no threat. Look, it seems to me what you really need is a decent meal, you say. Put the knife down and let me give you some food. The man hesitates, but lowers his weapon enough for you to slowly delve into your bag and reveal a crust of bread. He snatches it from your hands and backs off. That's a rare kindness. I won't forget it, he says, and turns to leave. You watch him tear into the loaf as he walks away, then set off again for Baron Morland's tent. Onward, through the camp! You arrive at Baron Morland's fancy tent and are accosted by two guards. Unlike the peasants in the lower parts of the camp, these soldiers are well equipped and in fine livery. You present them with your letter of summons. Seems to check out, the man says, turning to his colleague. Keep an eye on him, I'll tell the Baron. After a short wait, the first soldier returns and beckons you inside. The Baron awaits. Ooh, achievement. Punctual. Impress the Baron with your punctuality. Oh, yeah. Hey, oh, yeah, boy. Baron Osbert Morland leans over a large wooden table, his palms flat against the grain. Graying hair and a curated beard frame a face with pointed features. His yellow and black tabard hangs over a coat of chainmail. Scrolls, charts, and a silver tray with the remains of a meal rest on the table's surface. Ah, you're here. I do appreciate it when people arrive on command. I serve at the Crown's behest. Those who get into issue a command do tend to appreciate them more than most. I'm a fast walker. The Baron narrows his eyes. I see, he says, casting off the uncertain expression with a slight shake of his head. Moreland shuffles some papers around and motions to an empty chair. Now, sit down and take the damn mask off. You take a seat as instructed and remove. Why would I ever want anything else? My crow mask, of course. Next. Traditionalist, I see, Moreland says. You hold your crow mask in your lap as the Baron continues. I know you plague doctors have diverting personal connections to those awful facial decorations. So out of courtesy, how did you come by that? Do keep it brief. Don't make me regret this. You tell him that, I studied medicine at the University of Coliac. I like that one. I was apprenticed to a barber surgeon from an early age. I served the great martyr rays of a faithful acolyte. I fell into the profession by selling medicinal herbs town to town. I picked up medicine as bodyguard to a woodland apothecary. I've been experimented on so many times I'm practically invincible. I obtained this mask with a very particular skill set. Let me be specific. I think I'll go with the educated background, I guess. You know what? I wouldn't ever... Ditto, stop following me, Fuzzy. I was here first. Hi, guys. This is reading the game. Also, there's no music, so this is going to be a read throughout the entire duration type of deal. I will mess up a lot, but I do need this game to better fucking, I guess, learn to read. Anyway. Traditionalist, I see, I feel like I think I would, me personally, I would pick up medicine as a bodyguard because I would not fucking go to a college. I would not be able to, or university, I wouldn't be able to handle such education. So I think, bodyguard would be my sort of deal. You always known how to fight. You were hired to protect an old apothecary who lived in the forest near your childhood home. The local physicians' guild would regularly send enforcers to immediate the elderly healer into joining the guild or leaving the area. You got plenty of practice dissuading them of those notions. When the apothecary died, you took what you learned from them and their crow mask. As I suspected, Baron Moreland says, your blathering is not a patch on the story of how my family obtained this fine coat of arms. He circles a hand in the direction of the huge embroidered falcon, hovering behind his shoulder. Wow, fancy. Requiring no further prompt, he launches into the saga of how the first Baron Moreland, then merely a commander of a small unit of cavalry, lifted the siege of Haresborough with a timely charge. I don't know if I pronounced that properly. Foes were routed, heroes were toasted, and the crown awarded James Cuthbert Moreland III with a barony for his stalwart action that day. It was said that his horsemen swooped down on Haresborough like a falcon on its prey. Moreland says with a wistful look. A stirring story, wouldn't you agree? It was alright. I mean, it's not... I guess... It made me want a flying horse. Did you just ask about me as an excuse to talk about it? I wouldn't be so upfront about that. I don't think I would say such a thing. I'm sure they'll speak of Osborne Moreland the same way in time. Oh, jeez. No, nothing less than those Haresborough's traitors deserved. So gratifying to share a tale of valiant ancestry with someone who can appreciate it. Borland clears his throat and jabs his finger at a map of the surrounding area. Fuzzy thinks his voice can be anything other than monotone, hurtful, and accurate. I'll be your voiceover artist. I'll read it all old man in library style. But I don't know if you're gonna be that great at reading a lot of things, other than like maybe you could be that creepy janitor at school or some shit. Just always monotone. Just nobody ever talks to him. But you know you're there, but you're not so bad. If once people get to know you, you're just really fucking creepy and monotone. Where was I? Warren clears his throat and jabs his finger at a map of the surrounding area. Thornback Hollow is in a gripe of an epidemic we cannot explain. Hence the general summons for plague doctors. Ah, I see. He tells you that the first reports of the disease came from traders passing along Thornback's Hollow Central Road. As more accounts emerged, and the threat of a spreading plague became credible, the Crown authorized the mobilization of a local peasantry and ordered the town placed under quarantine. I've been here since early autumn, keeping the town locked up and kicking my heels while I followed the law and put out a summons. All three of you turned up today, and I'll be sending you in just as we finish this little chat. The Baron smooths down his tabards and looks at you. Anything to add to this juncture? I expressed my enthusiasm to get started. I should consider other people. I assert my dedication. I vow to find a way to stop this plague, and that's what I'll do. That's the spirit, the Baron says. What can you tell me about the sickness, you ask? That's supposed to be your job, Moreland smirks, looking at you down his nose. I can only relate what I've been told. The plague stops you from sleeping. Those who catch it feel exhausted but can't rest. Their memory starts to go. They say the victims start seeing things, hearing things. Eventually, they just lie down and never get up again. He shakes his head. I have skipped a day or two of sleep on campaign, but to go without it for weeks. A low breeze rustled the flaps of the tent as you contemplate the Baron's words. Thornback Hollow sits on the Crown's most accessible road to the sea, Moreland continues. If the town falls to disease, it will be purged and then abandoned. The purge will, I'm afraid, include you and your colleagues. Not something I'm relishing, but be quite assured that I will carry out that order. He starts to pace back and forth behind the table, arms folded behind his back. I don't know how long I can keep my troops fed on scraps of farmland. And I don't know how much longer the Crown will tolerate the closure of the trade route. So you are advised to work swiftly. The Baron stops and falls silent, looking at you over his shoulder. You sense he's waiting for you to assert your readiness for the task ahead. Well, there's not a wound yet devised that my hands cannot stitch. For your sake, I hope that is the case, Moreland says. You'll be working with a miserable sod who fancies himself a surgeon, and one who thinks she can cure all illness because she's read some books. His chainmail clinks as he paces his hands back on the table. I'm sure you'll make a wonderful team. Excuse me. How are you able to uphold the quarantine from this one's camp, you ask? By sheer force of my iron will, says Moreland. He pauses to gauge your reaction. You blink back. No. Very well. There's a second camp outside the northern gate. This blockade watches the south. The Thornback River runs down the east, and the western cliffs are steeper than any wall we could put up. I run regular patrols, too, just in case anybody feels like trying to swim or climb their way out. Some have tried. The Baron allows that sentence to hang for a moment. We fished Thornback's last physician out of the water about a week ago. Not sure if he was trying to run or if the townfolk got tired of waiting for a cure. Burning the body was a challenge. I'm too tough to drown. Mornon looks you up and down. You do appear to believe that, he says at last. One further thing. Sybil Blake is the town mayor. She's a firm hand and has the crown blessing. To the best of her knowledge, she's still alive and in power. We'd like her to remain that way. Any more questions? You shake your head. Merciful relief. Now, as stated on your letter of summons, any insight about this disease are to be turned over to the Crown. No exceptions, no excuses. Medical discoveries are imperial property, and refusal to submit said property is theft. You do not yet strike me as a thief. He sorts through some parchments on his desk. It's also my great pleasure to inform you that the court is looking to expand the Fellowship of Royal Physicians. Perform to the satisfactions of the Crown, and I will be in a position to recommend you as an appointee. Displease the Crown, and, well, I'm sure it won't come to that. The Baron fixes you with a stare as his lips from the last sentence. Then he smiles. You feel little reassurance. In order to put you forward, I'll need to know your name. What is it? Why aren't they here, you ask? The Fellowship. Do your job, and you may ask them yourself. Moreland's brows tightens in frustration. I sent a second rider last week, but can't spare any more horses. So unless I hear otherwise, you're all we've got. He taps the parchment. Now your name. What is my name? My name is... Oh, you know. You know, baby. You already know. You already know. My name is Jack the Ripper. The Baron notes down your name. There. Now we're properly introduced. Just in time for you to leave. He motions for you to stand up. As he moves to escort you out, one of the tent guards pokes his head through the entrance. Your lordship, we've caught another Thornback Hollow runaway. She's given us some trouble. The Baron Moreland makes a sound of resigned irritation, then motions for you to accompany him. Every blasted second of every accursed day taunts me with new problems. Jack the Ripper, come with me. You can make yourself useful. You put on your mask and follow him outside. The rain has ceased, and the cool air of the evening feels still. Head toward the commotion. The pair of you followed through the guard up to the outskirt of the encampment, where the main trail winds down a ridge towards Thornback Hollow. The town dwellings, squeezed between the rapid waters of the Thornback River and the western cliffs, are just as discernible in the fading light. But before you can focus too long on the town, your eye is drawn by a standoff at the side of the road. A tall woman dressed in a simple tunic is being circled by two uneasy-looking soldiers with crude pikes. A third aims down a crossbow in her direction. On the ground near her feet lie a baggage pack of a bow. I've told you, cowards, I'm not even from Thornback Hollow. As you approach with Baron Moreland, she shouts over to you both. About time! Get your thugs off me! I've done nothing wrong. Careful, your lordship, says the person holding the crossbow. She could be sick. We found her near the southern walls. You found me near the forest, idiot, the woman interjects. That's where I was hunting on my account of me being a hunter. Moreland turns to you. That may be so. However, if she broke quarantine to escape Thornback Hollow, the punishment is unambiguous death. Is unambiguous death. Gotta pause right there. Well, ask for a chance to check her for any sign of infection. Boop. The Baron waves you forward. Fine. Yes. Do impress us all with your medical prowess. You move beyond the soldiers and with pikes and approach the woman. She stares at your crow mask and puts her hands on her hips. Despite her defiant posture, her eyes portray the helplessness of her predicament. Not worried you'll catch something, then? You tell her checking people for infection is a calculated risk of your perfection, and ask if you can look her over for any signs of sickness. Seems like saying no won't do me much good, so go ahead, she says, her arms loosening. You may as well know that I'm Tace. Jack the Ripper, you reply. Since you have no clear idea what you're looking for, you perform some basic examinations. You look for any obvious fever, abnormalities in breathing, signs of the pox, and find nothing of concern. But the longer your examinations continue, the more Tace's agitation grows. Before your diagnosis is complete, she whispers something through gritted teeth. Help me. You pause. I escaped from Thornback Hollow. Help me. Maintain Tace's cover, expose Tace's lies, and seal her fate. Until Marlin, she's hurt and should get further help in Thornback. That would be kind of dickish, but I mean, I don't know. If she doesn't have any abnormalities, then I mean, it should be fine, but still. I don't know, it's still a little risky to let her go, too. Well, tell Moreland she's hurt and should get further help in Thornback. She's not sick, but she needs further help, medical help, you say, adding that Thornback Hollow would be the nearest place to receive it. Moreland nods and signals to his men to escort Tace to town. She picks up her belongings, disgruntled but alive. As you watch her leave, the Baron informs you it's time to meet your colleagues. Return to camp. Ooh, achievement. Don't shoot. Convince the Baron that Tace is no... Okay, I don't know what that means. As you head back along the road to Baron Moreland's encampment, you hear the steady sound of hooves. In the glow of newly lit bonfires, it's possible to make out a small wagon heading in your direction, flanked by a handful of figures. Hold for his lordship! The wagon comes to a halt as it pulls alongside you. You catch some hissed discussion with the ranks. What now? Did a petty tyrant forget something? Peering into the gloom, you see a figure wearing a fox mask slap in the arm of a taller-shaped clad in the mask of a boar. It would appear your new colleagues have come to us, Moreland says. The man leading the horse pipes up, speaking rapidly. Your lordship left instructions for the supplies to leave at nightfall, so we thought... I know what I instructed, the Baron supplies. Since we're all here, let's have our animal friends meet their accomplice. Step forward. I've already forgotten your names. Nice. Little rude, but okay. The pair step closer and look you over. They both wear the traditional waxed leather robes of the profession, along with stylized crafted masks. The boar design appears to have real bone inserted as tusks, while the fox mask is decorated with tufts of fur and sports an elongated snout. I stroke the horse pull in the wagon. You give the horse a sturdy pat. It wobbles its head approvingly. Aw. The masked duo share a look. I'm Inko Tai, the man in the boar visage says at last. He props up his mask to reveal an older face with wary eyes and stubble peppering the jaw. This is Alice Fenn. She takes off her fox mask, revealing a young woman beneath. You see that she has the telltale signs of too much time spent in candlelit rooms, gazing at literature. He likes sewing people up. I like figuring out better ways to sew people up, she says. You like horses, apparently. Yes, they're quite nice, so long as you don't go behind them and agitate them, and then die. You push your mask up to reveal your face. I'm Jack the Ripper, you say. Perhaps you're a companion... perhaps to your companions, perhaps to the horse. I don't know which one I'm talking to, apparently. Terrific. Truly, I've never seen a tighter bond, says the Baron, cutting into your introductions. These, he points at the wagon, are supplies for the Thornback Hollow. As is customary in a crisis under crown law, you have some authority over a portion of these resources. Use them as you see fit. The rest will be under the care of Mayor Sybil Blake. Oh, and do make sure that horse comes back. It's the only one we have left. With that, he departs back towards the line of tents, marking the perimeter of the southern camp. You fall in with your new companions and the accompanying soldiers. All right, follow the road to Thornback. Yeah. Your long baggage train makes slow but steady progress down the ridge. Even in near darkness, you can make out the imposing canopies and sturdy trunks of the dense oak forest that surrounds much of the town. Ayoko and Alice have been engaged in intense discussions since your short journey began, and as torches of the southern glade loom larger on the horizon, their voices get heated. Deferring to ancient deity customs puts people's health at risk, you hear Alice say. But negating those beliefs can cause lasting distress, even if the person heals, Ayoko replies, his voice lifting above its priorly melancholy cadence. Very sorry for all the interruptions and mess-ups. Alternatives can also be found if you're intelligent. You can use something else to stave off infection. Should we just ignore our oaths as plague doctors and harm the patient by invalidating their rituals? I seem to recall you dodging a custom or two on our long outing, Alice says. Before you get too sanctimonious about this... Look, sometimes medical circumstances are so pressing that... Ayoko notices you watching their debate and waves you closer. We need a deciding vote. Vote? Why did I say vote? We need a deciding vote, Jack the Ripper. Does our oath to heal give us the authority to bypass deity customs? Doctors must do whatever it takes to heal someone. I said respecting deity beliefs can prevent a different type of harm. I mutter the plague doctors seem to get blamed no matter what they do. I suggest that many of these problems vanish if you are flexible with the truth. I mutter that plague doctors seem to get blamed no matter what they do. Alice makes an overstated groan of pain. Ayoko, they sent us a diplomat. The man in the boar mask shakes his head in mock sadness. Not a bad dodge, though, Jack the Ripper. Maybe you'll be able to cure the plague by talking around in hidden circles. Alice taps you on the shoulder with her fist. No hard feelings. For all we know, that might actually work. Heard you arrived today, same as us, Ayoko says. Where do you hail from? I was born in this realm close to the imperial capital. I traveled here from overseas. My family fled for land without a crown invaded. Everywhere I'm always... I'm not nomadic. No. I wouldn't go overseas for anything. I'm too lazy. I don't know if I would have that sort of background. Doesn't really feel like me. Well, I would probably be local. I'm local. Born just over those hills. I had an inkling, Alice says. The accent plus you have that look about you. You exchange some anecdotes about your upbringing to pass the time, before the conversation turns to Thornback Hollow. What did the Baron tell you about this assignment? Was it that line about getting a spot on the Fellowship of Royal Physicians? Ayoko asks, leaning in to keep your conversation out of the earshot of the escorting soldiers. When you confirm this to be the case, the surgeon curses to himself. I bet he told you that nonsense about his family coat of arms, too. Look, the fact is we're being sent here to fulfill Morland's obligations to the crown. An outbreak of plague means sending in the doctors. He doesn't expect success. When we fail, we'll suffer the same fate as the rest of this sorry town. Oh. Well, hopefully we don't fail. The soldier leaning the wagon calls the horse to a halt. Thornback Hollow's southern gates stand tall before you, flanked by imposing walls. Unease hangs in the air. The horse sways in its harness and stamps at the ground, as if attempting to squirm away. Oh, geez. Credentials are exchanged between your escorts and the gatehouse guards, and with a slow mechanical grind, the gates of the town swing open. Enter Thornback Hollow. The streets of Thornback Hollow lie still beneath the night sky. Besides the creak of your cart's wheels, the thud of hooves on the earthen road, and the occasional bark from a distant dog, the town seems to be holding its breath. Even the gatehouse attendant who let you pass appear to have vanished behind their fortifications, gulped back up by the lateness of the hour. On the western side of the road, you can just about make out the steady rise of a hill, and atop this barrow, the outlines of grand structures. To the east, a network of narrow streets flow into clusters of modest, tight-knit dwellings. You hold your robes closer against the advances, chill of a clear night, as the soldiers who accompanied you unload supplies from the wagon into the street. Ayoko and Alice are making short patrols around the nearby sacks, crates, and barrels, most likely in a similar effort to stay warm. You direct a comment at the closest group of the Baron's guards. You get a bandits without even a place to see him, unless I have sooner possibly. People need those supplies. Are you gonna just leave them in the road? One of the soldiers looks your way and scratches their chin. It's what we've done every other time. Get in, drop off the stuff, get out. Try not to catch the bloody plague. It's a simple system, adds another, but we're still alive, so it's a popular one. Seeing your expression, the first soldier chimes in again. Calm down. Somebody always shows up. Your share is in the smaller bags. You'll be able to carry them between the three of you. Your exchange is cut short by a shout of acknowledgement from farther down the street. Looking into the murk, you make out the shapes of an unformed group of 7 or 8 figures heading in the direction of the wagon. They appear to have come from the direction of the hillside. Here we go, one of your guard remarks. Mayor Blake's finest. The militia fan out from around the spot where the supplies are being deposited. They're irregularly armed and wear a mismatched selection of yerkins and tabards and peasant smocks. Most you notice are dyed a dark blue. A woman who looks like she would have no trouble lifting one of the barrels at her side starts bellowing out orders. Rolf, Gavin, get those crates up to the miner. Cicely, take the sacks. The rest of you lot, stand guard. We'll switch to shifts in an hour. No breaks until all of this is up the hill. You realize that all may well include a portion of the supplies earmarked for your own use. But defying Mayor Sybil, Blake's militia is likely to antagonize her. And them. I defer to the mayor's authority and allow some supplies to be taken. Try to convince the militia to take that some of your supplies are dangerous to touch. A bit of verbal intimidation should convince them to leave our supplies alone. It looks like this group will only respond to physical confrontation. I don't know. Minimum intimidation should convince them to leave our supplies alone. It looks like this group will only respond to I don't know. Verbal intimidation? I don't think that lady would get intimidated by anyone. Sorry, my throat. I need water. Hold on. Oh, fuck. Scratchy. I defer to the mayor's authority and allow some supplies to be taken. Surely there won't be no harm to allow them to have some sort of supplies. You stand and watch as the militia begin carrying the various crates and barrels away. As the pile begins to dwindle, Ioko tries to step in and claim one of the smaller sacks earmarked for medical use. He's blocked by a shorter man who speaks through an unkempt mustache. "That's not for you, piggy. Step back." Ioko persists but finds himself pushed back by the blunt end of the man's spear. "I said that's not for you." Your colleague in the boar mask looks over to you. "Jack the Ripper, those supplies are ours. Are you just going to let this mob take them?" When it becomes clear that it is indeed your intention, he shakes his head and strides over to Alice. You see him gesturing in your direction. "Aw, I thought I would at least be able to talk to them. Not have them all be taken." You see the backs of the militia group as they disappear into the night, making their way slowly up the hill and at the urging of their leader. Moreland's soldiers are leaving too, turning the empty cart around and heading for Thornback Hollow's southern gate. You hear horse hooves cease as the towering entrance is cranked open, by re-emerging the watchmen. Then the straining of ropes and gears and a final thud as it swings to a close. Ioko pulls up his mask, resentment in his eyes as he confronts you. "Something you need to understand. Those people who do the dirty work for higher powers, they won't just stop at a few supplies." "You better have a spectacular explanation for what just happened, Jack the Ripper," says Alice, her arms folded across her chest. Mayor Sybil Blakes is in charge of Thornback Hollow, and unless that changes, we defer to her authority. I did what was necessary to avoid any conflict. Resisting a group like that, you always get you hurt. So what's the point? Being nice and compliant now will give us leverage later. I was hoping for this one. But let's see. Mayor Sybil Blake is in charge of Did what was necessary. I suppose a good impression is always good to have. But if anyone wants to pick on us later, then we will stop them. If they want to do that again. Being nice and compliant now will give us leverage later. Alice's laughter makes the outline of her fox mask shake. "That's right. You let us get robbed as part of your master plan. Good to know." You look at Ioko, who runs his head down the front of his face before he speaks. "Leverage. Deities, take me now." He slips his mask back down over his face and sighs. "I don't think you quite realize the power imbalance at play here, Jack the Ripper. But it's late, it's cold, and I want to lie down, so consider the matter dropped. Depart in search of refuge." Faces dart away from the windows as you pass by. A ragged urchin scoops up a cat and dashes down a side street. Wind disturbs the surface of the puddles around your feet. Somewhere to the east you hear the rhythmic creaking and banging of a door. Your colleagues are silent, fixed on carrying their supplies and their tired limbs along the street. As you round a curve in the road, the silhouette of a magnificent building looms into view. Constructed around two gargantuan oak trunks, its twin towers expand their canopies towards the night sky. Intricate paneling is interwoven with the natural growth of branches, twisted and curled around the building's exterior in a tight embrace. At the building's base, a small crowd has gathered. A man in a shabby gray robe and green hood runs up to you to meet you. "The sage delivers you in our moment of need. Come, quickly." "Hold a moment," you reply, as the man moves to depart. "Who is this sage?" "The Sage of Oak, protector of Thornback Hollow." You look at Alice and Ioko. "Sounds like the local deity," Alice says with a slight shrug. "Is the sage not known to you?" the man asks, perplexed. Then, as if revisited by his purpose, he urges you to follow him. "There's not much time. He could fall at any moment." "Who could fall? What are you talking about?" "Him," the man points towards one of the building's towers, but the hour is too late for you to make anything out at the distance. When you look back, the robed figure is already several strides farther down the street, beckoning you in earnest. You find the dregs of vigor in your body, hoist your supplies on your shoulders, and pursue the robed man to the foot of the building. As the four of you push through the crowd, you follow their gaze up to one of the spiraling towers. There, at the edge of one of the decorative wooden protrusions, you can just about make out the shape of a lone figure in the moonlight. Your guide takes you beneath a grand archway entrance, along a series of corridors, and points you up to a staircase. That'll take you to the roof. Abbot Quelm can guide you from there. We'll take care of your baggage. Hurry! I don't trust this guy. The stairs to the spire are old and long, and the three of you have to pause to catch your breath. When you finally reach the summit, your legs and lungs are burning. Ayoko doubles over, taking deep gulps of air. You lean on the staircase wall next to Alice, the two of you steadying yourselves. Before you can recover, a hand reaches through the stairwell exit and grabs your arm. Exclaim in surprise. What the hell? What the fuck? Who the fuck is out there going from the shadows? Who touching me? I beat your ass, motherfucker. The owner of the hand exclaims in return and lets go abruptly. An elderly man, his green hood drawn back, appears around the corner of the wooden doorframe. Doctors, a trio no less. This is the fortune of the sage at work. He waves you out of the narrow stairwell onto the tower's open rooftop. The moment you step out of the doorway, wind whips out your robes. Branches snake and curve their way around the building's parapet, and you hear a low rolling sound, like the creaking of a great ship. Suddenly, your feet feel even less steady than before. The old man is pointing at something with his wrinkled hand. Beyond the parapet edge, slumped in the nook where a pair of branches cross like the handles of a farming shears, is a figure in a torn plain smock. I am Theobald Quelm, the elderly man says. I fear we don't have much time. That man escaped from our infirmary this afternoon. Is he inflicted by the sickness that prevents sleep? Asks Alice. Quelm nods. We call it the walking death. That man has not slept for days. Approach the patient with caution. The three of you edge towards the parapet. As you get within a few feet of the patient, you can see that his clothing is hanging off a thin frame. His legs and knees are marked with a series of sores, no doubt from dragging his exhausted body up the staircase. Damn. He snaps upright and lets out a low wail, flapping his arms meekly in your direction. The sudden motion is enough to cause the branches supporting him to sway in an alarming fashion. You look down towards the ground, where torchlight from the gathered crowd provides a mirror of the stars above. A fall from this height would, without question, be fatal. The man's moan starts to take the shape of words. Creatures, let me leave. Our masks, whispered Alice. If he's trapped within a nightmare, they may be making it worse. Pull off my mask and launch into a speech with enough gusto to bring the man back to the parapet. Basically, just fucking tell him, yo, come down, bro. Everything's gonna be fine. Just get over here, man. Leave the mask on and encourage him to follow the mystic hallucinations to safety. Take off my mask, climb out on the branches, and try to pull him in. With my mask off, diagnose his symptoms in an effort to calm him. I don't know, I kind of want, but I don't know, the dude's weak as frick, so I mean, maybe I should just take my mask off. But what if he freaking freaks out, like I just took my head off and these dudes in like a weird fucking state? I don't know. Leave the mask on and encourage him to follow the mystic hallucinations to safety. I think that'll be better. You dismiss Alice's suggestion with a wave of your hand and stare down the man with your mask still in place. These creatures, you ask. What are they telling you to do? He avoids your gaze. Look at me. Tell me what the creatures want. Want me? Creatures make me? He glances over the side of the supporting branches. Keep looking at me. The creatures are guides. They want to help. You should come to the creatures. The man holds your gaze and nods slowly. He drags himself up onto his scarred knees with considerable effort and starts to inch his way back along the branches to the parapet. That's right. Keep going. You reach out, grasping the man's hand. Sanctuary monks help the man away down the stairs. The abbot gives Alice and Ayoko a warm pat on the back and smiles at you with some pride. The sage be praised, he beams. What a gratifying outcome. That man is a subject of the crown. Perhaps in time he can serve the realm again. Happy to help. I'm glad nobody was hurt. The sage, I presume that's your deity. I saw no divinity out there on the branches. Aiding the sick is our calling, no matter the risks. Yeah. It's basically just like every fucking doctor. Oh, thank God you're alive. It's a fucking miracle. Meanwhile, the doctor, I saved that man. Miracle my ass. Well, aiding the sick is our calling, no matter the risks. Boop. Achievement. Rooftop rescue. Prevent Eustace falling from the... Okay. Admirable, says the abbot. And your virtue was clear this day. That man is still sick, Ayoko says. Where did you take him? We'll do what we can for Eustace, but he'll be under stricter observation, Qualm replies. You'll be welcome to visit him, of course. He motions towards the stairwell. Now, let's get off this roof so I can show you to your quarters. The hour is late and you must all be ready to rest. You're inclined to agree just as soon as your heart stops trying to flee your chest. Below you, out of sight, the small crowd beaks up as people return to their homes. Breaks. This harrowing encounter, brief though it was, has given you your first insight into the plague. Follow Qualm to your quarters. Is this the same Child of Light as the last time with the Screaming Crow? This is not Child of Light at all, Fuzzy. This is a completely different game. I don't... What? No, the Mask of the Plague Doctor is a completely separate game that I was really interested in, and like it was like $6. I had a chance to get it for like $4, but I was like, nah, I'd rather pay full price because like it seemed pretty interesting to play, and gives me an opportunity to actually fucking read, and do a better job at it. Child of Light actually has gameplay. This is just like a choose your own adventure type of deal. The abbot takes you down a short flight of stairs and shows you to a simple, windowless room, with a modest bed and desk. Everything, as far as you can make out, is carved from the same species of oak. The supply of baggage you brought with you is already propped in the corner. Decoration is sparse, consisting of a lone figure hewed out of the very wall itself. You peer closer into the dim candlelight and make out outstretched arms. A canopy of leaves sprouting from fingers, and an androgynous visage. May the sage watch over your rest, Crom says, noting your interest in the wall carving. I'd be delighted to show you our ancestry and discuss our customs when the sun next blossoms. Our courtyard also has a wall for when you seek rejuvenation. Until then, he motions to the bed. You watch him depart. Ayoko and Alice's voices can be heard in the corridors as the abbot shows them to adjacent rooms. Extinguish the candle. Oh, because the title said Plague Thingy, but the game said Child of Light. Really? Well, I mean, fucking, I couldn't. There's no game category for this game yet. I tried leaving it empty, but I guess it was like choosing not to do that. I would prefer if it was empty. Why the heck did it do that? I wish I could like fucking because it won't let me do like a fucking specific title that I can put right here for the game category, so I don't know how to do that because it's just like meh. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why I did that. It won't let me do anything else. It just keeps on putting it there. Back in like 10. Uh, be back soon, dude. I gotta reset my internet. I can't hear shit and it keeps pausing. Back in like 10. Okay. Am I coming through? I should be coming through. I don't think I'm like. Let me just make sure. Uh, I mean, I guess I could put that on. The Plague is not that game, but I mean, I could put it there. So that people don't come here for Child of Light. Anyway, let me just take a swig of water. You toss and turn on the unfamiliar bed. Though your limbs cry out loud for sleep, your mind refuses to allow it. You see the sanctuary rooftop. Eustace, his tattered clothes hanging from an exhausted frame, looping the outcome over and over again. You saved him, but to what end? You have no cure for this walking death, or any idea how to begin making one. Resigned to your restlessness, you pull yourself into a sitting position on the edge of the bed. The room is dark, save for occasional flickers reaching under your doorway. You leave your mask on the desk, ease open the door, and step out into the hallway. The flickering candlelight is coming from the room, across from your own. Alice's, you presume. Behind the door next to yours, you can hear a low wail. It sounds rather like Ayoko. A nightmare, perhaps. This could be an opportunity to bond with one of your new colleagues, or further explore the sanctuary. I investigate what's causing the moaning sound. You try the door and find it open. The intermittent moaning gets louder as the gap widens, and you step inside. On a bed that looks identical to your own, you see Ayoko. He lies supine with an arm up against his forehead. The boar mask sits beside him, discarded beside him. You watch as his body twitches with minor spasms. His mouth moves, but the only sound emitted are the mumbled wails you heard in the corridor. Greater in volume now that you're inside. For now, I observe a little longer. Unsure how best to assist the surgeon, you opt to wait. His noises of distress continue, and he raises an arm aloft as if trying to push something away. You catch a repeated word, unfamiliar to your ears. It sounds a little like Tiro. As you find yourself leaning closer to listen, Ayoko's body jolts, almost sending him over the side of the bed. He groans and sits up, rubbing his head. You announce your presence with a soft cough, drawing a swift look of surprise.
What? Jack the Ripper? Why are you here?
I found you moaning in your sleep, and I was worried. He looks away, his expression more pained than usual.
It's nothing. Thank you.
You see his body soften, the clasp of the nightmare loosening its grip. This something I should be concerned about, you ask, leaning back against the desk. Ayoko scoffs. It sounds like the teeth of a saw catching in wood.
You think I'm about to discuss my sleeping habits with someone who just broke into my room?
The door was open, but no,
Good, because that's not how it works.
He reaches for his boar mask and turns it over. In his hand... Sorry. He reaches for his boar mask and turns it over in his hands, staring at the tusks.
I've seen plenty of compatriots come and go. Don't know how you'll measure up yet.
These compatriots, you say, did they break in less or get groused at more? Ayoko rasps out a laugh and points a finger in your direction.
That, Jack the Ripper, is for you to discover.
The finger drops and he raps his mask lightly with a fist, suddenly sullen once more.
Right. Since we'll be working together, you may as well know I got this working for the Crown. Battlefield surgeon, and now a ferocious dreamer.
You nod, unsure how else to respond.
Not your place to worry about someone else's past. If you were planning on it, Alice already knows, and now I'm telling you.
He places the boar mask back on the floor and lies back down in bed.
Sun'll be up. We still need to save this sorry town. Let's try to call it a night.
Straining up from the desk, you bid him farewell and head for your own room.
Jack the Ripper, Ayoko says as he reached the door.
Whatever your reasons, I am grateful for you checking in on me. Aw. Snatch some sleep. I found you moaning in your sleep. Hey, we keep it family friendly here, Wobbly. We keep it family friendly. I forget your name. The rest of the night passes without incident. You stretch awake in the sanctuary bed, happy to have found a proper place to rest. The memory of a pleasant dream touches your mind with soothing fingers. Something about floating in clear water. As you try to reach the memory, it slips away. Looking across at your mud-spattered boots and dusty robes, you recall the abbot's mention of a well. You appease your stomach with some unremarkable bread from your supplies. Don your crow mask, and head out in search of a sanctuary courtyard. The mid-morning sun warms your exposed arms as you step out from beneath the archway of a covered corridor. In the northwest and southeast corridors... Corners? Why did I say it like that? In the northwest and southeast corners of the courtyard square, the huge oak towers of the sanctuary extends to the sky. Their shadows draw heavy, dark lines across the greenery of the interior. In the center, you see a monk drawing water from the well. Ayoko lies nearby on the grass, while Alice brushes dirt off her boots. Their respective masks sit close by. Approach the well. You join your colleagues, drape your heavy traveling robes over the side and of the well, and begin to draw some water of your own. When the pail reaches the top, you splash your clothing and watch as thick trails of filth drain from its wax-covered surface and into the grass. Satisfied with your work, you lift your mask and apply some of the refreshing water to your face. As it runs off your skin, you hear Alice address you. "Jack the Ripper, we were just talking about you," she waves, waving you over. Beside her, from the grass, Sayoko makes a disgruntled sound. "Why did you have to tell him that?" Alice gives him a disapproving look. "See, Ayoko and I have worked together before. Those coughing fits up in Mantleshire. Anyway, point is, we know where we stand with one another." "Right. I know how annoying she..." Ayoko's interjection is cut short by a boot lobbed in his direction. "Ignore him. What we're curious about is this doctors in our position find themselves loyal to many masters." What we're curious about is this. I don't know why why did I miss this? Anyway. "Who do you intend to serve in Thorback Hollow?" "I serve the crown as its representatives. As long as I'm here, I serve the people of this town. Everything in this is service to my duties to I serve myself and whoever can get me out here. You're alive now, I'm good. I don't really care about that." Well, I guess my character would probably, serve whoever is here. Anybody who needs help will get help. So, as long as I'm here, I serve the people of this town. "The Baron can't hear us in here, you do know that." "Oh, hush, Ayoko," says Alice. "I've known some perfectly reasonable supporters of the crown, and you must admit it's often the pragmatic choice." Ayoko makes another noise of discontent and rolls his back to the two of you. Your discussion is curtailed by Theobald Quelm, who has arrived unnoticed by the side of the well. He clears his throat to get your attention. "If you would care to accompany me to the infirmary, I can show you around and answer any question that may help resolve this terrible affair." The three of you put on your washed robes and boots, pick up your masks, then follow Quelm across the courtyard. You head towards the section of the building opposite to your temporary quarters. Quelm pauses at the entrance, a decorative doorway twice the size of any monk. Crisscross with a branch pattern that you find difficult to follow. The fuck was that? I just heard a weird noise. Damn, it's dark outside. He lifts and releases the hefty door knocker 3 times in succession. "This was once our main ceremonial hall," he explains. "Sage willing, it can serve that purpose again, but for the time being it houses the sick." Locks and latches are undone from inside. Then the door inches open. The abbot exchanges a quiet word with an unseen figure, then beckons you to come in. You feel the warm sunlight leave your back as you step inside. Enter the hall. Though the heat of the sun has left you, the hall is blanketed in its own sticky warmth. Ew. People fill the space. They lie wide-eyed in makeshift beds, constructed around sanctuary pews. Some shuffle back and forth, holding their heads, or tugging at frayed clothing. Another group simply stares at the wall. Few pay you much attention. Soft muttering, moaning, and an occasional cough create a constant low drone of sound. "We've given them a place to stay, but this place robs them all of all else," Quelm says with a sigh. "We desperately need your assistance." You watch as a small number of monks, their faces obscured, save for their eyes, mingle with the patrons. "These attendants," Ayoko asks, "have any caught the walking death?" "To my deep regret, yes," the abbot confirms. "Emilada was returned to the soil 3 suns ago. The risk of tending to those shadowed by disease." He bows his head. "She is missed." Ayoko looks grave. "So, in the right conditions, it can spread." "We conducted the ritual of the sage daily," Quelm says, "and trust in their mercy." His voice lowers.
I have some knowledge of medicine, but this sickness is beyond my skills as an apothecary. If you wish, you can stay and attend the sage's blessings.
What have you observed in the behavior of the sick?
Poop.
Yeah, that would probably be more important.
Much as you see before you, Quelm says with a gesture. Once taken by the walking death, a person never sleeps. They grow weaker. Their mind grows troubled and restless. Some are more restless than others. After 8 or 9 blossoms of the sun, they are usually too exhausted to move. Death comes soon after. He pauses. That is just what I have observed. This is until ground for us all.
Untilled. I gotta say that right. Alice breaks the quiet contemplation she had held throughout the discussion.
Abbot Quelm, who was the first victim? With that lead, we may be able to trace the source of the plague.
Quelm thinks for a moment.
I fear I cannot answer that question. It could even be someone who never made it to our sanctuary. You're free to ask around the patients here. They may recall something.
The monks have completed their rounds. You see a side door open, and 2 more monks emerge carrying a large offering bowl. With care, they place it on a plinth in the center of the room. The patients, who are still able to stand, begin to edge in closer, and you realize for the first time that many are clasping small twigs and handfuls of leaves.
The ritual of the sage is upon us, says the abbot.
Want to observe the ritual and the mass in particular. I want to observe the ritual and question some patients. As the abbot steps up to the plinth, you see the people apart to let him by. He raises his green hood, takes a candle, and sets the material in the offering bowl alight. A soft coil of smoke rises from the bowl, dispersing as it drifts upward into the ceremonial hall's high ceiling. This action is the signal for the chanting to increase in volume. You can now hear the words, as the voices all around you, resolute, soft, broken, and cracked, take up the call. In our birth we sprout from the sage's soil. In our life we grow towards their majesty. Oh, hold on, check it out. Wait a minute. I got this, hold on. Alright.
In our birth we sprout from the sage's soil. In our life we grow towards their majesty. In our death they hold us once more.
Saplings of the sage, Quelm toads. Come forth, unburden yourselves, turn your suffering to the ashes, and the sage will relieve your pain. You watch in silence as patients step up to the pyre and toss oaken fragments into the bowl. Some whisper their desires, others cry out for healing. As the ritual continues, you cast your eyes over the ceremonial hall. Most of its inhabitants are pressed around the plinth, but there are a scattering of others still laid out on pews or skulking in corners, too sick or perhaps lacking belief in the sage's salvation. This feels like an opportune time to ask some questions. I search for someone vulnerable and press them for information. I take a compassionate approach to my questioning. I stress the medical urgency of the situation in my inquiries. I seek out someone who doesn't care for the piety of this ritual. I take a compassionate approach to my questioning. The patients around the peripheries of the ritual seem suspicious of your kind words. People are on edge, unwilling to trust a stranger. Sorry. The patients around the peripheries of the ritual seem suspicious of your kind words. People are on edge, unwilling to trust a stranger. Even those who recognize your mask as a mark of your profession, you're about to give up, when you practically stumble into a young monk with wild eyes.
Watch it, she snaps. Wait, are you a doctor?
You pull your head back as she tries to reach for your mask.
Please, she says. I just want to try it for luck.
Promise not to run off with it, you ask? She smiles and nods vigorously.
Oh.
You remove your crow mask off and hand it to her, ready to snatch it back if necessary. Her eyes grow wider and she turns it over in her hands, before slowly bringing it to her face. For once, you get to see the mask looking back at you.
Beautiful. Marvelous.
I have never seen anything more glorious than myself. True to her word, she remains in place. As she takes the mask off and passes it back, you notice a calmer expression in her face.
I wore a mask like this the first time a festival came to Thornback Hollow, she says. That memory's a fond one. I thank you for letting me relive it.
You ask her if there's anything she can tell you about the spread of the plague. She thinks for a moment, twirling a finger in her light hair.
I don't know how much I believe in it, but people have been blaming the illness on the tannery. Some of the laborers got sick, I think. Might even have been the first ones, she sighs. I'm afraid that's all I've heard.
You thank her and you part ways. Share what you've learned. Ooh. Connect the plague to the tannery. Ooh. You reconvene with your colleagues and share what you've just learned. In the background, the ritual of the sage begins to wind down. It's not much to go on, you say, but I think we need to at least look over the tannery buildings for signs of infection.
Agreed, says Alice. One small problem, she adds. We don't know this town.
A soft rustle of robes behind you makes you turn around. The now familiar face of the abbot smiles back.
I can show you the way to the tannery, Quelm says. First, allow me to make a proposal. Hear the abbot's request. You've had a little time inside our sanctuary, the abbot says. At the mayor's instance, we have dedicated ourselves to caring for the victims of the walking death.
He holds his eyes on you.
But we are failing. There will be a day, and it will come soon, when we do not have enough monks or enough resources to adequately cater to the needs of the sick.
So what do you propose? Ayoko asks.
You are scholars of medicine. Use our sanctuary as a base for your investigations, and recruit any person to merit To recruit any person of merit you encounter in Thornback Hollow to aid us.
The abbot gestures below him.
I will have the cellars cleared and prepared for your studies. Your rooms will be available for as long as you require them.
You look to your colleagues and you share nods of acceptance. Theobald Quelm clasps his hands in yours. I just hope this alliance will be enough.
I'll stay here for the time being, says Ayoko. The abbot is right. He needs assistance tending to the sick. I'm afraid that means you'll be without my sunny disposition for a few hours.
Aw.
Your presence will be welcome, Ayoko, says Quelm with a slight bow of his head. Now, I believe you were interested in some directions.
He unfurls a parchment depicting the streets and districts of Thornback Hollow. Route. Place your route. Tannery pits, butterflies, and broth. Chapter 3. You know what? Looks like there's chapters, so I think this will be a good time to stop for now. Anyway, we will continue this another time. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, hopefully I'll be able to see you in the next stream too. With that being said, that's the end of the stream, so I'll be seeing you later. Bye-bye.